Got Mr. Pete Najarian joining me from Market Rebellion. Pete, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Oliver. You're looking sharp today, as always, I see.
Thank you, sir. I got some decent sleep, working on that routine, Takes practice.
Yeah,
I know that's
gotta
part
do
of
it.
your guys, you're in particular, your walks through the woods are very inspiring. You're, right? You got to have something to keep you regimented.
I got some black bears out there, too, so I got to outrun them, man.
Seriously, yeah, I bet. So wild down there. Pete, the market is distinctly, I think, kind of tamed right now. We're talking about vol 16 and a half. I know the last couple of days there were a few doozy moves that folks got caught, by surprise by. Bitcoin got hit. A few of the key tech companies got hit, obviously, after Oracle. But overall, none of that seems to have been able to facilitate any real downside. And we do see crypto firming back up today alongside Tesla.
Yeah, and I think part of that is the fact that, this earnings season has saved us time and time again, right? And it never really feels like it ends because there's always the next set of earnings that are coming out there. But, the big boys really helped things out, I think, when we started off with the financials. We've moved through that. And, yes, there were a couple where we took a hit, right? You look at the AI trade, and certainly you get a little bit nervous about what happened with Oracle. Now, Oracle had an unbelievable run, however, before that. So that's one thing. And then you look at something like a Broadcom. So were they disappointing? I'd say they were absolutely disappointing. But there are a lot of concerns out there about what's going on with AI. Is it a bubble? Is it ready to pop? All these different questions. And I think that we are still scratching on the beginning parts of what we're seeing, I think, when it comes to AI and data centers and all the energy factors that go along with that. So I think there are some opportunities that literally are made in front of us when we've got some of these pullbacks.
To your point, a lot of winners that, pulled back. So the idea that we could have, those pullbacks, we could have downside, we could have reset, I do think needs to be part of our understanding for markets. Anytime you have a big run thematically in any of these groups, whether it's the semiconductors, which still put in a higher high, whether it's quantum stuff, which put in a higher high. A lot of these charts still look pretty darn good. And one that I've been watching very keenly, of course, is Nvidia still. We're still above 175 there, which was my line in the sand for that stock.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to approach the markets with, all right, where have we been? Where have we gotten to? And where are we right now? And what does it look like for the future? And I think when you look at that there, I don't think that there's nearly the pressure that everybody else seems to feel that's out there. I think that, to your point, unless we really crack down and take a pretty big slap to the downside, I feel like there's a lot more green to be had into the future here. So are we going to have this rally and Santa Claus rally and all the things? I pay attention to that, but I really don't watch that closely. I'm always looking at the options. I'm looking for unusual options that are going to give me what I think is going to be a leg up on everybody else. And it's been incredible of late. Volumes exploded over the last day or so. It's been pretty incredible once again. So I'm pretty excited about where we are right now going into the end of the year and obviously as we kick it off into January.
By the way, within all of this, a stock that is generally one that signals, I think, risk appetite still pretty well is Tesla, partly because of the love-hate relationship many have with the Elon, which kind of adds some beta, some velocity to it. And of course, the fact that it's ingrained into some of the biggest, if not the biggest, tech themes. There was also, for a while, a little policy premium in there, too. So it's like, you name it, Tesla's got it as an input. And now SpaceX going public puts Elon above the 600 billion mark, according to Forbes. I feel like this is a conversation that we got to have. There's the Forbes article right there, $600 billion. So that's probably not negative for Tesla, thanks to SpaceX.
I think it's pretty impressive, and especially the fact that it wasn't too long ago, 4 months ago, they said, well, SpaceX, we're going to say this is probably a market cap of somewhere close to 400 billion. Well, that number now has moved to 800 billion. And you know what? By the time it actually happens, I wouldn't be surprised to see it even a little bit higher than that. And what will that do for, our good friend Elon? I think he's going to be pretty daggone impressive, quite frankly, because he's already at 600 billion. He's got a pretty good step on everybody else. And I think his valuation is going to be even higher in a big way when it comes that time. Now, he doesn't own the entire thing. He's got, I think, 42%, something close to that. But I'll tell you what, if these numbers that we're seeing are anything close, I think it says a lot about what Elon has been doing. And quite frankly, I think that he's bounced back a lot when we talk about Tesla. People were kind of bashing him, they're bashing him and all that type of thing. Well, I would say that he's come back pretty nicely. I mean, just take a look at that thing since the times of the Trump and all.
I just pulled up the 3-year chart. I mean, this looks like up and away to me. It looks like if it gets through 500, you could get another vertical move in this thing.
And a lot of people are out there betting on that in the options world. As a matter of fact, we had 2 major hits today in the option side of things. Stock was trading right around probably about where it is right now, call it 480 at the time, but they bought 11,000 of these February 600 calls, the 600 calls I said. And then they actually bought 29,000 of the December 510 calls. That was part of a roll-up. So there is still an appetite out there thinking that, you know what, Tesla's made a heck of a move, but Tesla's going to make an even bigger move over the next couple of weeks, maybe couple months.
The expiry, you said December, Pete, was that the 26th?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Not this Friday.
No.
Okay. IV rank right now, I mean, it doesn't look particularly high implied vol for Tesla. You know, it's not screaming for December. So I don't know, these do we describe them as affordable, or is that just kind of they went out so far to 600? I mean, I got to push my strikes way out if we're going to get to 600 because this is such a highly traded stock.
Right. And when I see these kind of trades, Oliver, I think for any of the folks out there that are not professional traders, they're not on the trading floor, they're not, somebody at, a monster fund of some sort. These are things that when you see them, they're fantastic. I think it gives you an idea of what the thought process is out there. But I think spreads make a lot of, sense under circumstances like this. Just because the call action that we're seeing doesn't mean that's the only thing you can do. You can always create something with spreads, and that's something hopefully you've got to have the knowledge to do that, of course, but you've got to understand exactly what that means, how that's going to, play out, and you're going to give some of it away, right? Potentially, if it does make some unbelievable move to the upside. On the other hand, you're putting up a little less risk when you're actually spreading it off.
No, I like that point, especially I think it makes total sense for a stock like Tesla because it's expensive nominally to trade those contracts, but also it's a mover. So, you can still get a big move and get a good payout, even if you spent some to hedge it, even if you sacrifice some. So I do think it makes sense for Tesla. When we think about the other major themes here, Pete, I feel like it's worth discussing numbers from employment today, as well as what that's going to mean for some of the macro stuff, which I always like to talk some macro with you. Thinking about the jobs report, I mean, it could have gone worse, right? I think that's the case. It could have been a disaster, but instead we added 64,000 for non-farm payrolls when they were looking for less, and a bond market's pretty calm about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest thing that people were focused on more than anything is that unemployment number, right? I mean, there were some concerns because of that. We've moved up just a little bit higher at 4.6. It's about a 4-year high. So it's something I think that we're all paying attention to it. But, we've had the government shutdown. We've had all these different factors coming on. And it's interesting because even with all of that, well, the S&P, and I think your previous guest was talking about this, has been banging around it at new record highs. So I think people are digesting this very, very easily, very rapidly, and deciding, you know what, things still look pretty bright out there. And yeah, the unemployment at 4.6 is not optimal, but at some point, maybe into the future, maybe we see that start to pull back again. Okay.
Pete, the bond markets, I'm watching it real closely for the 10-year. It kind of, looks like it wants to break higher, actually, but it's obviously going to take some effort to sell bonds. We keep bouncing around this 4.2. This line, man, I love when lines on my charts work. I don't know if you're the same way I am, Pete, but I love a line hold, and it just, that 4.2 is holding like, I don't know what, look at this thing.
Oh.
It just...
I think you're exactly right. I've been talking about this for a long time with John and a lot of the folks here at Market Rebellion. I've been just saying, it's interesting because we keep bouncing up towards that 4.2 level, right? And then we seem to pull back. And then we get up there again. We seem to pull back. And I think your chart says exactly that. It's been interesting. Do we actually see it going back above that level and then starting to move more to the upside? I really don't feel like that's the case right now. It feels like that is the line in the sand, at least for now. And we'll see how long that can hold up. But I feel like that's something that can hold up into the early parts of 2026. And I would expect to see a whole lot of movement much higher than that. Yeah, you could pierce it, but I don't think you're going to close over 4.2, even though it's sitting right there right now. It's been moving around, and we've been talking about this for a while, somewhere between, call it 4.1 to 4.2. It's been a very, very tight range for the most part.
Yeah, it really has. I think it'll be newsworthy if it breaks above 4.2 to the upside. I think less newsworthy if it stays below 4.2, but at least we have a threshold to think about fairly clearly. I think on that, I think we see on the same eye on there. Hey, Pete, to close it out, always like to get your hot sports take. This one's a little bit out of my realm, but I am going to pull up some stats from my friends at Real Sports, Real App, as an alternative. I know we call this segment The Gamble, but this is kind of like the Gamble alternative. My friends actually built this company. It's a fantastic sports analysis and data-driven social app called Real, because they've got their top tweet today is something you texted me about, which is this kid, Cooper Flagg, who's playing for the Mavs. Is that right?
Yes, Mavericks. He's one of the top picks in the draft. He's a special kid, came out of Duke. I'll tell you what, he was making a lot of money while he was at Duke. Now he's making a lot more money now that he's in the NBA. But he did something that nobody has ever done before. He's an 18-year-old kid still. He's going to have a birthday fairly soon, but an 18-year-old that actually got out there and had a 42 points, set the new record, 42
Looking
points
at it.
for an 18-year-old player. How about that?
Wow.
And by the way, the kid was a 3.5 GPA, so he's got the academic side. He's got the sports side, obviously. He's one of the most special players to watch. I mean, last year during the tournament, he was unbelievable. I'll tell you what, he's a special guy, and Dallas is very lucky to have him.
Seems like Dallas has definitely got something going in terms of their ability to pick stars, right? I mean, no question about it. That's pretty impressive. Just it seems like there's always a breakout. Whether it's the kind of marketing side of it, the sports expertise, the combination of them both. Just it seems like anytime there's something hot on the court, it's Dallas connected. Also, he got 7 boards too, so he's no slouch by any means.
The guy does it all, man. I mean, honestly, he's like so many of the guys before him, where he's just a special player, and people are going to know more and more about him as he gets deeper into an NBA career, just because he can do it all. He's aggressive enough to go in there and get the rebounds. He's aggressive enough to be able to also be a great teammate and give people some assists along the way. But he's a special guy, and I'll tell you what, as a free throw shooter and as a field goal shooter, this guy is money, absolute money. And he's not so bad from three-point land either.
Yeah, 40 bomb. Here's some of the stats that they got for him as well. 48%, from the field, so pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And I like that they retweeted a hot take from someone saying that he was going to be a bust. Pete, always keeping me informed in many ways, from economics to sports. Appreciate it, Mr. Nigerian. Thanks a lot.